So now let's talk about the economy a little bit. Disaster. Okay, now, but look, let's separate these things. This is important. How the economy is doing overall and how the stock market are doing, usually people put it as synonymous. Well, if the stock market goes down, then the economy must be tanking. And a lot of times it is. That's a very good indicator. Let's put it that way. Not synonymous, but a good indicator. But not always. So today, the stock market, off the elbow, off the top row, now it is at a new 11-year low. It hasn't been this low since 1997, the Dow at least. It went down another 2.7% when it was at a low yesterday. And so why did it go down so much? Because there was news today by Chuck Schumer, Chris Dodd, and some of the other top senators saying, hey, maybe we could nationalize some of those banks. Now this bandwagon is growing and growing, and it's about to take off. So the market reacted to that. So, for example, Citigroup and Bank of America have already taken $90 billion in federal aid. And now people are saying, well, if you take so much federal aid and there isn't really much there, and there isn't really much value in the company, doesn't it make sense to take over what Schumer's called the zombie banks? Now, he didn't say any specific institutions. He said that 8 different times to emphasize it. And he didn't, but he said it could be small banks, it could be large banks. We're not going to nationalize all the banks, no, but we should start to think about nationalizing some of the banks that don't really have enough profit, or I should say assets in the bank to justify putting in all this money and trying to keep them afloat, when we would be better off coming in there, firing the managers who brought them into this situation, bringing in new managers, keeping the banks and clearing out their assets so we have a better sense of it, get credit rolling in the country, which is what our objective is, and not necessarily what the bank's objectives are. Get it so that it stabilizes and that we go towards the objective of a better economy rather than keeping these specific banks and executives employed as they are, or their shareholders continuing to get dividends. The shareholders would get wiped out. And then after we nationalize them for a short period of time, then we would, after things have stabilized, privatize them again. And that makes sense for a limited number of banks that are in this situation. But when the stock market hears that, they panic. And, of course, Citibank and Bank of America lost 32% of their value today because people thought, well, maybe they're going to get nationalized, which is a logical conclusion. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the economy is any worse off today than it was yesterday. No, it's just saying, hey, we're going to take a different approach to this, and if we do, well, the value of those companies within the market will obviously fall. So, because all the shareholders might get wiped out completely. And you know what? The Wall Street guys are yelling and screaming, if they made bad decisions, referring to the homeowners, if they made bad decisions, and they should get crushed by the market, yeah. As a CNBC anchor has said, which we're going to get to in a little bit. Well, then the same is true of shareholders of Citibank and the executives of Citibank and Bank of America. If they made bad decisions, well, then they should get wiped out. And yes, that's bad for the stock market, but it's not necessarily bad for you. In fact, it might be better for you. Okay, and we get credit rolling again in the country. So don't panic about the stock market. Calm down.